LeBron James might smile for the cameras when talking about Kawhi Leonard, but behind closed doors, it's a different story. Reports say LeBron confronted him head-on over the $28 million fraud scheme. Because this scandal doesn't just threaten Kawhi, it threatens LeBron's legacy and also shakes the foundation of the NBA forever. Let me break it down. Kawhi's silent payday. On September 3, 2025, journalist Pablo Torre dropped a bombshell report that shook the NBA, alleging Kawhi Leonard was involved in a $28 million sham endorsement deal tied to Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. Almost instantly, it was seen as the smoking gun in one of the biggest financial scandals the league has ever faced. And that's no exaggeration. We're talking about a secretive contract, a bankrupt Green Bank exposed as a massive fraud, and millions funneled to Kawhi through a company directly linked to Ballmer. Now, with the FBI circling, the DOJ handing down indictments, and the NBA bringing in outside counsel, LeBron James couldn't stay silent any longer. The confrontation was personal, heated, and left one unavoidable question: did Kawhi Leonard cheat the system? And did the Clippers help him do it? Because here's the bombshell. According to bankruptcy filings, investigative documents, and testimony from former employees, Kawhi Leonard signed a $28 million no-show job contract with a company called Aspiration. A contract that insiders allege was designed specifically to circumvent the NBA's salary cap. And what makes this even crazier? Kawhi never publicly mentioned Aspiration. Not once, not in an interview, not on Instagram, not even a casual tag. 0. The grand total number of times Kawhi Leonard ever publicly referenced Aspiration was 0. Let me say that again. While Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert Downey Jr., Drake, and a parade of celebrities went out and actively promoted Aspiration, Kawhi pocketed more money than all of them without lifting a finger. And that, folks, is what has LeBron James furious. Because this isn't just about one player cashing a shady check. This is about fairness, about legacy, about whether the NBA's rules mean anything when billionaire owners and reclusive superstars can invent shell companies to shuffle money in the shadows. The story starts not with Kawhi Leonard, but with Aspiration Incorporated, a fintech startup that sold itself as a green bank. Founded in 2013 by Joe Sandberg and Andre Chernay, two Democratic operatives with deep political ties, Aspiration claimed it could save the planet through tree planting programs and carbon-neutral credit cards. The pitch was seductive. Spend money with Aspiration and they plant trees in your name, balancing out your carbon footprint. Celebrities ate it up. Leonardo DiCaprio joined as an investor. Robert Downey Jr. voiced an ad campaign. Even Drake cut a check and sang their praises. At its peak, Aspiration raised nearly $600 million in funding and was valued at $2.3 billion. But behind the glossy ads and environmental slogans was something much darker. Prosecutors now say Aspiration was a full-on fraud machine, a Ponzi-like operation that lied to investors, forged documents, and siphoned hundreds of millions into the pockets of its founders. By early 2025, the company had collapsed into bankruptcy, leaving investors like Clippers owner Steve Ballmer holding worthless paper. And here's where Kawhi enters the story. According to documents obtained by journalist Pablo Torre, Aspiration quietly signed a 4-year, $28 million contract with Leonard in April 2022. The agreement was run through Kawhi's personal shell company, KL2 Aspire LLC, and negotiated by none other than his uncle and business manager, Dennis Robertson. The terms were outrageous. Kawhi would receive $7 million a year. In return, he was supposed to promote Aspiration, but the contract gave him exclusive control over all content, meaning he could literally choose to do nothing. Which is exactly what he did. There was a clause for an out in every single KPI. So they weren't actually key performance indicators. They were optional. If he didn't feel like promoting, he simply didn't have to. Let's put that in perspective. Leonardo DiCaprio got $57 million. Robert Downey Jr. got $68 million. Drake got $5 million. All of them did commercials, interviews, posts, or appearances. Kawhi, $28 million. No commercials, No interviews, no posts, nothing. Former Aspiration employees didn't even try to hide the scam. One finance executive told reporters that Leonard didn't have to do anything. Uncle Dennis demanded payment. It was priority one, crucial to their relationships with Ballmer and the Clippers. And this is where LeBron's anger comes in. Because this wasn't just a bad endorsement deal. This was, according to insiders, a carefully engineered way to funnel money to Kawhi outside of his Clippers contract, keeping him happy without blowing up the team's salary cap. While LeBron has spent years battling under the same salary cap restrictions as everyone else, Kawhi and the Clippers may have had a secret backdoor pipeline funded by a fraudulent company linked directly to their billionaire owner. Steve Ballmer personally invested $50 million into Aspiration just weeks before the Clippers announced a $300 million sponsorship deal with the company. Within months, Kawhi's LLC was on the payroll. It looks like a round trip. Ballmer's money goes into Aspiration and out the other side into Kawhi's pockets. Now, Ballmer insists he was conned. He told ESPN, "These were guys who committed fraud. How would I be able? Look, they conned me. I made an investment in these guys thinking it was on the up and they conned me." But rival NBA executives aren't buying it, and neither is LeBron James. Sources close to LeBron say he's been simmering ever since Tori's explosive podcast episode dropped in September. When the two finally crossed paths, LeBron confronted Kawhi directly, pressing him on whether he knowingly accepted fraudulent money to stay with the Clippers. What Kawhi said, or didn't say, in that moment is something we'll unpack later in this series. But the silence spoke volumes. Because for Kawhi,